Poisonrana.
Can't hear ya. Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Hello, YouTube. How we doing? We are Poisonrana, and I can't hear Braden. Good stuff.
All right, you should hear me now.
Yes.
Here we go.
That's why we get here before 2 o'clock.
I love your stalking method of not doing anything. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
What's going on? How are you?
You?
Are you feeling the effects of working a long shift on Halloween Saturday?
Yeah. I'm not great, to be honest. I didn't get home till gone 4. It was a pretty exhausting shift, working a bar on Saturday. Come home covered in face paint and fake blood, and I notice a blue light is flashing in our apartment, and I'm like, what's that?
A blue light?
A blue light's flashing. I walk into the kitchen, and the dishwasher's flashing and making noises. So I look, and it says LC, which says leak sensor.
Oh, God.
So I'm like, okay. So I'm like, all right, let's just turn it off, and we'll think about it another time.
This was in the morning.
I'm going to bed. This is 4:15, something like that. So turn it off, and then go to bed. Well, first shower, like trying to get all this makeup and blood off of me.
Yeah.
And then I'm still hearing this noise. So I'm like, fuck. So I go and turn it off again. Like, all right, go to bed. And then
wait.
So I got.
It's making noises like beeping noises still, or still to wake you up. Wow. Okay.
So I pull it out of the thing, of the unit, trying to find where the plug is. Can't find the plug. So then I got to go to the fuse box and turn it off by the fuse.
Oh my God.
I haven't turned it on today. This has happened once before, and what I had to do was basically tip the dishwasher over and pour out all the water. But yeah, the place is a fucking mess. There's fake blood and face paint all over the walls
yesterday,
and I just want to cry.
the washroom looked like you straight up murdered someone. If it wasn't Halloween weekend, I would definitely be questioning you, because I was home briefly yesterday getting some last stuff to bring over to my girlfriend's for my costume this week, and I ran into you, and we caught up for a few minutes, and as you were getting ready for work, and you were working at the bar last night. So on top of all your whole long shift, you come home and then you had to deal with that. So what time did you actually go to bed at?
5, something like that.
You were getting ready to do a little costume for your bar, working the bar last night. So you were like, oh, I have this old jock zombie costume. And as you were getting ready, you're currently growing out your beard for your Tuesday costume, which everyone should be excited to see. But when you were doing your makeup, I'm like, Davey, no high school jock has a fucking full-grown beard. And as you were doing your ghoulish makeup, I'm like, oh, you kind of look like you're like an old, haunted mansion ghost or something. So then you then switched your costume and turned it into old timey bartender.
Yeah. So my original plan, I've done this before, is dress as kind of like an old, Victorian bar, as you can imagine in the sort of the Jack the Ripper days, and I've got this waistcoat I had from when we did a cowboy and a cow a few years ago.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So like that's what I originally wanted to wear. And I'm like searching for it in my wardrobe, and then I found my like jock, like varsity jacket kind of thing. So it's like, oh, you know what? I'll just do that because I want something easy when I'm working, because it gets like, you know, it's hot and you're moving around a lot. And so yeah, I found that, and then I'm doing the makeup, and I was like, you know what? I watch a lot of, like, we've all seen those like high school movies where 40-year-olds are playing 16-year-olds and might have a bit of a beard. I'm like, I might be able to get away with it. But as I'm starting to do the like dead makeup, my beard just now looks really gray. So I'm like, oh, that looks ridiculous. So then I try and like put like black makeup on it.
Yeah.
And then it just looks like a really like thicker than it even is. So I'm like, okay, I've got to find this vest, and got about 10 minutes before I need to leave for work. So run down to storage. So I've made a mess of our storage locker. I've made a fucking mess of my room trying to find stuff. But the costume looked good. I had a lot of compliments.
Yeah.
So, like, people go, oh, you must have spent a lot of time on the makeup. I'm like, no, it was like 5 minutes, and I've destroyed my apartment in the process.
So like we leave to go. We were separating, but we were like going down the elevator together. And as the elevator door opened, and you're in full now zombie blood costume, the elevator door opened, and someone was waiting for the elevator, but they were turned the other way talking to someone. And then classic like horror movie, he turns around and just like, you didn't scare him or anything. You didn't try to, I mean, you just did. And he's like, fuck.
It happened a couple of times at work as well, because like the computer, the POS system is behind the bar, so I'll have my back to the patrons quite a lot, like as I'm bringing stuff in. Sometimes I've got my back and I turn around and someone's just sat down and they're like, ah!
Well, then like the washroom had fake blood all over it. It looked like you had straight up murdered someone in our bathroom. So I was like, all right, well that's should have took a picture. It would have been something spooky.
I get really emotional when I'm tired as well. So like it's running on a lack of sleep. My body hurts. Like it was a pretty like physical shift because it's busy all night. Like lots of people coming in and out, like bar hopping, doing like little Halloween crawls. And then you wake, and I hate waking up to like a mess. You know, it just, there's something comforting about when everything's good. Like if you come home and your bed's made and stuff like that, but there's like just shit all over the floors trying to find these pieces of costumes. There's blood everywhere. I've got like food because I was like rushing eating before work. Food's all over the place. I'm just sat watching Collision, and like QTV comes on, and I just want to cry. I'm like, what's wrong?
Because it was so bad, you wanted to cry. That's why
I wake up with like, you know, a tickle in the throat, and you're like, great, I'm getting sick as well. And we're gonna do it all again tonight.
Yes, we're recording this. We celebrate Halloween very hard here at the BDE, and we have tickets to this Haunting in Hexwood, which is like this like movie set that they have outside of the city, basically for Halloween. This is the first time they're doing it. They turned it into a like haunted mazes and everything, like a haunted little town, because of the movie set makes it look like a little town. So we're doing this tonight with a huge group of friends that we're going to. So yeah, right after this, we're going to do it all again. We don't have to do costumes or anything for this, right?
No. Just dress normal. So we've got quite a group going though. I think there's 11 of us going, which should be fun. Which, you know, like I haven't heard a whole lot about this. It does sound cool. We've done a lot of like the other scare things in the city. This is a little bit outside, but I'm kind of intrigued, it being on a movie set and things, and I think it'll just be cool to walk around and be with friends and stuff. So
yeah, I love everything spooky. I'm pretty exhausted today too. Did you get to go out after your shift at all?
No, we tried to. There's a bar like very close that does 4 a.m. last call. So went there, and the security was like, "Oh, it's closed for a private event tonight. So you got to pay to go in." And I'm like, "Sorry, is it a private event or a paid event?" It's, you know, security just trying to make some money.
Yeah, of course.
You look inside and barely anyone's in there, and it's, you know, like normally industry look after industry. Like, oh, you've just come from from work, like come in, and I'm like, nah, fuck you guys. So just went home, which was probably for the best, because if I then had some like, you know, another Guinness and another shot, and then I came home and the fucking dishwasher and the I think I want to, like, I might just, I'm broke right now, but I feel like I might just get a cleaner, come in, be like, look, I'm gonna go and lie down on the fake beach outside, and and you do your stuff.
Yeah, get them to clean up all the blood, and don't tell them it's
everything, fake. Everything. Just be like, however long it takes, I'll pay you. Just help me.
Can't be that much.
No, I don't know. Yeah.
And then we're going out Tuesday night too.
Oh yeah.
real Halloween is on Tuesday, and we're not doing our Halloween Havoc post show on Tuesday night because we do want to kind of have our Halloween to ourselves. So we will be going live on Wednesday, November 1st around 2 p.m. So join us for that, because we will be chatting all about Halloween Havoc night 2. But yeah, we're going to be Halloweened out. I worked Friday during the day, and then like Friday night, there was a few things in the city going on. So I did like a makeshift costume of like a bunch of old costumes kind of put together, and went out and had a like pretty kind of chill night, you know, like had a few drinks, didn't go necessarily too hard. But then last night, like that was my real, like Tuesday night, we're going to walk around, bar hop and stuff. But last night was I saw the city was crazy. Like bars and lines to certain places were absolutely like nuts. I learned now, like get tickets, like when like events or concerts or whatever, or for around this time go on sale, like in August, when people are like, it's not even September, why do you have tickets for this yet? It's like, so you can get your spot in places for like ahead of time. Because wow, the city was crazy last night. Like everywhere I go, taking my Uber across town past our old neighborhood, there was like parties in the streets and everything. Like Halloween definitely brings the freaks out at night. So definitely, and it was a full moon. So did you have any no fights at the bar?
No, actually most people were pretty cool yesterday. I was worried because, like, you know, I'm not necessarily into zodiacs and all that. I am single, so I try my best to pretend. But
take notes, gentlemen.
But yeah, actually everyone was pretty cool. We had karaoke going as well, which, you know, can kind of like amp it up with people being
it was
a bit
karaoke.
weird.
Yeah, that's right.
But actually it was a pretty fun crowd. The only issue I had was two guys, they come in, they order like half a liter of white between them, and they pay right up, and then they order another one, and then order, and one of them's like, do you mind if I go out and vape? I'm like, yeah, sure. The other guy's staying. And then they order a third. The guy goes out to vape. I go and do something else, and I've seen the other guy's gone, and I'm like, for fuck's sake. So I go outside, and we have security, and I see one of the guys. I'm like, hey man, if you come outside, I just need a credit card to like hold your tab. And he's like, yeah. Opens his wallet, and then he's like, wait, why am I giving you a card? And I go, well, because you got drinks inside. It's like, I didn't order those drinks. That's my buddy. And I was like, well, you're drinking it, so I need a card from one of you. You can get it back from your buddy. It's like, no, I didn't order that. Not my problem. I was like, yeah, it is. You're drinking the drink. And he's like, nope. Have a good night. And the security guy is right next to me. And I'm like,
wow.
I don't advocate for guns at all, but at least in the States, you can kind of go, you're paying your fucking tab, you know? Whereas here it's like, hey, you need to pay. No. Okay, cool.
Wow.
Like, can't do anything. If security ain't doing anything, I ain't doing anything. So I just called him trash. I was like, you're a fucking loser. Have a good night.
Yeah. Wow. So clearly his buddy had dipped.
Yeah. But like, it's also like, I don't like asking for cards because people are like, oh, you don't trust me or whatever. It's like, also people just get drunk and walk off and forget, especially if they've, you know, if you paid one tab and then you open up a new tab and then you remember paying, but it's not for the new tab and stuff like that. It's just easier. But people are trash.
We'll hope you can have some Halloween fun. You have actual Halloween off, right?
I'm kind of working in the day, sort of.
Okay.
But I think I've done a little switcheroo, so it shouldn't be too bad. Just
cool.
A few hours, and then we'll be off for the evening.
Yeah, definitely. Peeps out there, follow our socials for Tuesday night. We'll definitely be posting videos and photos of our costume as we link up. You're gonna get dressed, meet up with me. We have sort of a couple's costume, Davey. Sort of.
Yeah, we've got a bit of more of a group costume going on.
Group costume?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, definitely follow
Plus
our
Batman.
Socials. and a Batman. Yes, we have a bunch of us with a theme, sort of. And then a few of our friends are like, "Nah, I'm just going to be."
It's funny. Another friend of ours might be joining us that night as well, and he went to me. Oh, I'm going to go and get a Batman mask to wear on Tuesday then. And I'm like, oh, you're going to go as Batman? He's like, just wear the mask. It's funny because the other guy who is coming as Batman.
Shout out Big Tom.
I assume he's sort of full on armored, like Batfleck style Batman or something.
Something like that.
And then our other friend's going to be in jeans and a hoodie with a little like bat mask.
But I know we have some wrestling to talk about, and then we got to get out of here so we can have a fun night. But did you see any fun costumes last night? We'll probably talk about costumes again on Wednesday, but just from one night out.
There's a guy who's a regular at karaoke who always does like really like fucked up makeup, and it's pretty scary actually. But he doesn't do anything like he dresses normally and then just like covers his head in like burns and blisters and it looks pretty ugly, so that's always cool. You always see the like Mario and Luigi costume, but this one was Mario, Luigi and Link, which I thought was pretty cool. Like I was kind of hoping you'd see do a whole Smash Brothers theme would be cool.
I saw a bunch of Marios and Luigis, but Mario, Prince, Luigi, Daisy, Toad, like someone was like the whole like group of them. But if I were to do it, I'd have it where we all have like mini carts or like around us or something like that. That I saw lots of Barbies and Kens, like too many to even count at the giant like party I was at. I was like, I can't even keep counting how many Kens and Barbies, but lots of chefs. Yes, chef cousin from the Bear, which if you're seeing anyone, that was the easiest one for anyone. What can I do? White t-shirt and an apron. I'm the chef. I'm the Bear. Okay, cool. I saw lots of that. I recycled from last year for this like rave event where me and my girlfriend were space cowboys, space cowgirls, and there was a few like the Barbie like cowgirl thing kind of looks like that as well. So there was a plethora of cowboy hats spattered through the night.
You know, I love how you can make anything like sexy as well.
Oh yeah.
You know, like I had a girl come in at the end of the night and I was, I'm a fan of the Saw films. I was an even bigger fan after last night. Sexy Jigsaw. I don't know.
I was gonna say sexy face mask maze thing, like the saw on the face, but the rest of the body is.
It's like the the sort of ventriloquist dummy that rides the tricycle thing. So sexy Jigsaw. A friend who's actually visiting this week sent me a picture. She went out as sexy Gandalf.
Okay. You know what? I saw some like wizard chicks out there. Yeah.
Wizard chicks. Yeah. Could be a name of a band. Yeah. So fan of that. Shout out Halloween.
You know what? God bless Halloween, because it's like the best thing ever. If we're talking about other costumes, I saw. What did I see? There was a Sailor Moon. Definitely that my girlfriend was a big fan of. She's like, I don't know who this girl was dressed as Sailor Moon, but it was pretty good. I'm expecting a lot more on physical. I know it's a Tuesday and that kind of might deter people from going out, but nah, still do it.
I saw on Instagram as well a funny couple's costume, which one of them was dressed as a key and had a little bit of white on the end of the key, and the other just was a giant bag with like They put like white cotton balls,
a giant TK.
Like that. Yeah, exactly.
I saw some like one of the floors with like the DJs thing. They had like these little risers where people can kind of go up, like almost like go-go dancers. Anyone can go up there. And like as soon as we walked into one of these rooms where it was like going crazy, there was a girl on it as Knife Brittany, but just like doing there was like 3 knife Britneys. So
right.
Clearly Brittany is a hot costume this year as well, but that had me rolling. Well, I hope people send in photos of your costumes or any fun costumes that you see. I know if you're a listener, join our Facebook group because it can link to the Facebook Poisonrana chat, and you can chat with all of us. We usually chat when wrestling's on and stuff during those nights, but some of us share some of the costumes in there, and I'm blanking on the name now, but someone sent in their son dressed as the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, which was a really sweet costume. So shout out that. I'm blanking now because I don't have my Facebook open, but people send in more of the costumes, especially wrestling, but it doesn't have to be. We just appreciate all the spooky stuff. And I know spooky season's not over just yet by the time you're listening to this, maybe, but we have lots of other podcasts also that we've recorded. We did our Halloween Havoc 1998 review, which, trust me, was very scary because it has fireballs and Disco Inferno.
And I, after trying to put on makeup yesterday with a beard, it makes it even more like confusing, unfathomable as why Sting decided to grow a goatee. For this
oh my God. Goatee Wolfpack Sting at Halloween Havoc 98 versus Bret Hart. It is, you got to listen to the review, honestly.
He looks like your version of Sting from last year.
I wish I saw this before.
Shaven, so.
Yeah, I wish I saw this before. I kind of would have done this one specifically. Like, it's so ridiculous. My original plan for that Sting costume was to have the actual like plastic Sting mask and keep doing that all night, like the gimmick where he like takes it off.
Yeah,
but it was kind of hard to find a proper Sting mask. So goatee Sting with the red face was just, what a look. That has got to be his most awful like look ever. So,
and I think it was just a one-off because doing some research that that event was the last time he did the Wolfpack makeup. So
right.
Yeah,
jeez. Well, we reviewed that.
He's probably
show.
Just really attached to the goatee, and everyone was like, "No, dude, that just doesn't work."
Let it go,
well,
Steve.
It's the red paint or it's the goatee.
And then they moved on to the soul patch and back to his right.
Never
ways.
look back.
Yeah. Well, we reviewed that whole show. We reviewed Friday the 13th, Part 3. We reviewed Antichrist with Dickie Bird as his Up Yours pick, which was a hell of a doozy of a review, and lots of other spooky stuff over on our Patreon. It's only $5 a month to get access to everything that we do in that catalog. Lots of scary movie reviews in the past there, lots of wrestling. And I know the new month of November is coming up, and I know we're working on some ideas for some shows and with some Up Yours picks as well. So go support your boys if you like what you hear.
Absolutely. And then on this very feed, dropping like Halloween Eve, I guess, the eve of Halloween, as in the day before, our annual Halloween review. We are up to Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers.
He's no man.
He's no man. And this might be the first time that we just both watched completely different movies.
Oh my God. This makes for a fantastic podcast. This is our best one yet because I watched the producer's cut and you watched the director's cut. Yeah. I think so. We watched technically the same movie, but 2 different versions, and then we review notes.
Different versions, and it's funny because there's sometimes when we're doing reviews, and you know the drill by now. One of us does kind of play-by-play, if you will, and the other one like does more color. And there are times when we're watching these movies, especially if you're not kind of the play-by-play guy, where you switch off for a second, you look down and make a note, you might be making a cup of tea or whatever while the film is on, and you miss little bits. So, and the person doing play-by-play is like, and this happened, and you're like, yeah, that happened. And then after a while, we're like, wait, no,
I'm pretty sure I'm like,
that didn't happen at all.
So then the man in black pulls out a silencer and you're like, wait a second. Like, that did not happen. I'm like, what do you mean? It happened. You're like, that did not happen. I'm going to start doing that to you now. I'm gonna be like, so then Willem
throw
Dafoe...
it in once a week. Yeah.
Willem Dafoe cuts his anyways.
And then Thea Hale hits a avalanche Canadian destroyer, and you're like,
through 6 flaming tables. And
yeah,
like, yeah, that was sick. Wait, what? So our Halloween 6 review coming out. I'll put it up sometime during the day on Monday, and it's a fun review and it's free. So go check that out. Hey, go watch the movie. Not sure which version you should watch, but go check it out. We're chatting about Paul Rudd, Donald Pleasance. Donald Pleasance's last movie ever. Yeah, unfortunately. So we definitely tribute to him. Get the red wine out for Donald Pleasance, Dr. Loomis, and take a drink every time we do his voice. Yeah. Next year for Halloween, we're just both going to be Loomis. Bearded old
little gun.
Yeah. So that is a free show coming out there from us to you. Happy Halloween and all that. But here on this feed, we have lots of podcasts. Shout out John Cino, who's keeping it busy over at Post Wrestling. He has Shot in the Dark here every Thursday. He covers all the other wrestling that you may or may not watch. I know he's going to talk about some MLW, Sam Hain, and all that stuff in the near future. So listen to that, including Women of Wrestling and ROH. But Cino and B Detroit also did a What Up Doe just the other day on this feed. If you haven't listened already, click that download and check them out because they're chatting about Spider-Man 2 on PS5. They're talking about Hellraiser. They're talking about some AEW. They go off on a whole lot of stuff, especially some scary movies for this Halloween season. So check out the boys, my new favorite podcast. And soon you'll be able to get What Up Doe merchandise.
Hell
soon.
Yeah.
Can't wait. The do-rag?
The What Up Doe rag?
The What Up Doe rag. Yeah, let's go. Let's go with that.
We need PWT to just reply to my emails of the first things we're trying to.
This is do
rags. Hopefully, at some point, if PWT decide to talk to us, Also, you can go to Poisonrana.ca if you are in the Toronto area or planning on being in the Toronto area next month. There's a little event called Survivor Series happening on November 25th, and we are hosting a watch party at Gabby's. You can get your tickets. We've got some early bird tickets up right now for just $5. Don't leave it too late. Our events have sold out quite a lot before. So, but this is always a lot of fun. We'll be having, wrestling themed drinks. We'll be playing the event on a huge projector screen, as well as 10 other TVs. So you'll be able to see it from wherever you're sitting. You'll get to hang out with us. You can have, the best wings in town. Our chicken wings are pretty fantastic at Gabby's, as well as
the Buffalo Wrap, baby. Buffalo Wrap. I only promote things that I love, and the Gabby's Buffalo Wrap and your wings. Fair play is so good that even when we meet people who know Toronto, they're like, "Oh, Gabby's wings."
Yeah. What's it? Chris Van Fleet.
Chris Van Fleet loves
the Gabby's wings. So yeah, come hang out. Poisonrana.ca. The link is right at the top of the site to get your tickets. I think it's going to be a really fun event. Survivor Series, one of the big shows of the year. We assume we're getting a big War Games match. Will we or won't we be getting CM Punk appearing? Who knows? But it's great, especially now. Summer's over. Weather is getting a little cooler. It's time to do some fun indoor things. And what better than watching wrestling with some friends?
Friends. Yes. Any Toronto people, hit us up and come hang out for Survivor Series downtown in Toronto. We're going to have some prizes, some games, as we always do, some special wrestling themed drinks and all the stuff to go with it. And of course, you get to hang out with us and watch some wrestling. So definitely looking forward to that. We will have some more in the next year or so in Toronto. And I mean, like, hey, Davie, you've booked the BDE house for Philly.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should start planning some extracurricular activities in Philly as well. Maybe a bit of a tailgate or something like that, perhaps.
You know what? There is a bar I went to last time I was in Philly. Which I feel is our kind of bar. Okay. So maybe I'll hit them up. Found this bar. I looked for like best dive bar in Philly and found, and I haven't even contacted them. So don't take this as gospel, guys. But there's this bar called Bob and Barbara's. and they do something called the PB&J, which is a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon and a shot of Jim Beam, and it was like $4 or $5 for that. So we go into this bar, and it's just us and one guy sat at the bar, and this guy we're with, like, he's one of those people that is always trying to like show off a bit. So he goes, "I'll have the special. You know what? Buy everyone at the bar this special." And it's like, cool, it's
$4.
Our group of 4 and this one guy at the end of the bar. So $20. All right, cool. But he's like, got his Rolex out, like, buy everyone at the bar the special.
Was this Ric Flair?
And as soon as he said that, I swear, like, this bartender has like a secret button under the bar that he pressed, because the door opens and like 10 people walk in and sit at the bar. And he's like, "Oh yeah, everyone at the bar?" And I'm like, "Yeah, everyone at the bar." He's like, maybe like this half of the bar. I'm like, nah. And the thing is, it comes back around. Like, you'll drop probably still like $40. You bought everyone at the bar a drink. You probably won't pay for another drink at that bar. But it's fun. Like, I went, they had some karaoke going on. They've got a good jukebox. It's got a good like divey bar feel. So I don't know. Maybe we could hit them up. See what they're saying.
I know we have a bunch of friends coming in to Philly for WrestleMania weekend. I know this is months in advance here, but I think having some sort of an event or two or meetups and stuff. Maybe John and Way are going to Philly. I think they are.
I think they are.
Possibly. So we will be cooking something up, young tadpoles. So definitely, if you're thinking of going in that space, I mean, really, we can jump into some wrestling chat, because they've announced a show that in some weird way, I think in my head, I'm like, did we cause this show to happen? It was us. We did a trip just recently where we went to London for All In, which was fantastic. And right as it ended, they announced, hey, next year we're doing it again. And during our trip to London, Davie, you were our tour guide and took myself and my girlfriend to Berlin for a few days. And boy, we had a bang out time in Berlin, having so much fun. And then we're like, wow, what a great idea to do this while hitting up London and stuff. Now WWE announces the Bash in Berlin, after we were raving about like, oh man, we got to go back there. So I'm like, man, I don't even know if I need to go back to Berlin, but now I kind of do, because they're doing an event right near like 3 of the clubs we went to.
I was just going to say, if we are going, Yam is a 15-minute walk away.
Bro, I'm hitting them up to do the fucking tailgate on their beach party.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. The one place you can smoke.
Yeah.
Exactly. Fantastic. So anyone, it's October. You got months to plan for the Bash in Berlin. And, imagine wrestling fans trying to get into the Berghain. Sorry, sir.
They
your
won't
Kevin
make
Owens
it.
Shirt. Yeah,
they won't even make it to Sven. They'll be out of the line as soon as they're in there. Because we know what wrestling fans are. They'll be incapable of going a minute without going woo, or, yeah. Like it's so funny. You go to wrestling events, and like when it's a WrestleMania weekend or whatever, and you're all hanging out in the town, and there's some bars you go to and it's just packed of wrestling fans. And it's like, cool, whatever. Everyone's getting into it. But then you'll go to a restaurant and you're sitting at a restaurant, and then there's, people in a fucking New Day shirt going, woo! And you're like, dude, grow up. You're at like a nice restaurant right now. Just hold it for a sec. But
love it.
But yeah, like it's, we don't have plans yet for next year, but it is something we're definitely considering. And I think the Berlin show makes it way more appealing. And I think it's awesome that WWE are finally doing this thing, like traveling the world, going to all these places. It's called World Wrestling Entertainment, not American Wrestling Entertainment. And I think finally in the last like few years, and I think Nick Khan has a great deal to do with that, we're seeing these events happen. And obviously a lot of it is also down to site fees that WWE want, these cities to pay for it. And a lot of these cities do it because it does bring in great tourism. We see it whenever there's, a World Cup or Olympics, like they bid to try and get it because it ends up being pretty great for the city. But it's awesome seeing, they're going to Australia next year. We've obviously got the Saudi Arabia shows. We had Cardiff and London quite recently, and now going to Germany, which it's amazing it's taken this long, because Germany's always been a major stop on their European tour. And of the European countries, it's one that wrestling is definitely pretty big. You know, WXW is like a pretty major independent promotion where Gunther was a massive part of that. And similar to London, Berlin is just very easy to get to from wherever you are in Europe. It's a major hub. So I can't wait to see more of this. And it's making these pay-per-views just feel like more special. You know, even these like B-level pay-per-views. I think that Backlash in Puerto Rico was one of my favorite events of the year. And, you know, if that was just in another basketball arena in like Indiana or whatever, like it wouldn't feel the same. And I think they're really doing finally a great job of doing that. And I think especially AEW with kind of their attendance issues at the moment, that's something that they need to look at more, because you saw the success with Wembley earlier in the year.
Like, obviously it's got to be more difficult and like costly to do it in other countries and this and that, even to come to Canada. We know like there's stuff behind that, but for them to do this is very smart. Like having them do shows in Puerto Rico, or eventually they're going to do a pay-per-view again in Japan, I would imagine. But it is interesting, a week away after All In, like legit the weekend after, and it's in Berlin. So like you're going to get, you know, a huge influx of that, you know, 80,000 people. A chunk of those people are going to go over there. They're already looking at it like, oh, I'm going to book this. And this bash at Berlin only is like 17th. It's an arena, right? So 17,000. Like I feel like it's going to sell out right away.
I feel like it could.
I feel like it's going to be the hot ticket. And we were just in Berlin, and like it's kind of a young city. Like, you know, we're in our early 30s, and everyone there is, you know, in their 20s, 30s, 40s. They're all like partying and go out, and everything's like, you know, like a community.
Oh man, it'll be an awesome host city. Like drinking is legal in the streets.
You can drink in the streets.
There's so many bars there. It will be hot. Like it was hot when we went.
It was beautiful. Yeah.
It will be awesome. And I imagine, like my theory is Gunther is probably winning the world championship at WrestleMania is what I figure. Yeah. And then this would just be a few months after. Like you've got to main event with a big Gunther
Cody
match.
Like
Gunther?
I
know he's an Austrian, not a German, but you know he made his name in Germany. Yeah. And I think doing whether it's Gunther Cody or something like that at Bash in Berlin would be awesome.
And
I think that crowd would be electric. Oh my god. Oh my, yeah.
Dragunov Gunther 4?
Yeah, probably something like that.
Yeah, man, that would be incredible. But honestly, Gunther main eventing, even the two the Ringkampf guys, Imperium, obviously you would put them in a highlighted match. I mean, like the three of them, really, you'd want the singles Gunther match. So that's definitely where you go with that. But you would have the two in a tag team, and those guys are incredible too. So like, this is such a good idea for WWE to do. And as a fan, you're like, whoa, this is going to come across so great on screen watching and being there. Like I couldn't imagine the atmosphere is just going to be electric, but very smart. And instantly, like, I'm like, I could go to All In again. I had such a like fantastic time, and I got to go to London and with you, and it was just like, it was great. And then we went to Berlin, and we're like, how cool if it was to be. That's what we were saying. We were walking one day, we're like, yo, this city's crazy. Wouldn't it be sick if they did like this big wrestling event here? And then now they're doing it. It's like, oh man, guess I got to start saving up. But definitely thinking about that, because like just it's such a smart idea. And I think they should keep doing this. They should go to other countries. There was rumors that there was going to be SummerSlam in Paris, but it looks like it's Cleveland, which some would say is kind of the same thing. Maybe less bed bugs in Cleveland right now. I'm not sure, but
I mean that's something I might consider as well. Cleveland's not particularly far from here, and we know their pizza Sparrow is fantastic. So
Cleveland, I mean, there's no Detroit style pizza, but I think they're gonna kill it like the next little while. Triple H and Nick Khan kind of running things so far is like really interesting me. I'm still not someone that can sit down and spend like the 3 hours on a Raw or stuff, but I definitely can check out their pay-per-views because they are like so delivering.
The TV has improved a lot. I didn't get a chance to I was pretty busy this week and didn't get a chance to watch WWE. Obviously catch up with our favorite podcasters, John and Wai, on Post, finding out what's going on. But when I've stayed in and kind of had Raw on and sort of I'll be cooking dinner whilst doing it, do a bit of cleaning, chill. Like you can have it on in the background and then be, oh, this match looks like something I want to watch. It has been so much better. I've really loved the like long-term storytelling they've started to do. I love that finally, and I think this is something wrestling's lacked for so long. Everyone does feel like they're in the same universe. They're not in little bubbles having their own stories. Everything is kind of intertwined. Actions from previous things they've done years or so ago has consequences still today, and like people aren't forgetting like, hey, you fucked me over in Cardiff, so I'm not forgetting that. I like that kind of thing. It just feels way more competent and like logical now, and they're starting to put good wrestling on TV. We've always said like NXT, even like through its like dark ages, like that they do put at least one good killer match on TV most weeks, and Raw and SmackDown are starting to do that as well. And the product's been so much better for it, and especially backing it up with these PLEs, even if it is just the PLEs you watch, they're usually pretty enjoyable shows. So yeah, I've definitely been a fan and looking forward to seeing what they do and what other cities they announce.
I hope they do more, like again, like more stuff in Canada, more stuff overseas, something in Japan. I could see them announcing in the next year as well. Like doing this in Berlin is like, whoa, that's crazy. And I know they do like house shows and stuff when they tour to these places, but it's, hey, us wrestling fans, we're all over the world. We love to go to the shit. We're kind of spoiled. Like we go to all these shows, and we got to remember sometimes that people don't get to go to these shows a lot of the times. Like we've been so spoiled where we go to All In, right? And it's like we've heard Wild Thing live like maybe 10 times, and everyone's singing along. And we're like, oh yeah, this is like the first time they're feeling this.
They're feeling it
right now, right? So we're definitely spoiled little wrestling fans, but it's cool that they can do this, and it makes it so much like more people are into it. Then you see more people getting into wrestling, and better sales of tickets and ratings and all that stuff. I just love this stuff, so it's fun to see it get big like this. I
can totally see somewhere like Mexico being somewhere WWE run at some point as well. Yeah. Who would have thought? Like with if they work on like a Dragon Lee. You've got your LWO. Like I think within the year or 18 months, I could totally see a big show in Mexico.
Yeah, that would be a good idea. Bring Bad Bunny back as well, even though he's got a world tour that's kicking off. That's like insane. Like his prices for his tickets are like 3 times the price of what a ticket should cost. And I know concerts are expensive, but he's killing it right now, dropping a new album and tours. He probably won't be in WWE for a little bit, but yeah, that would be nuts if they did like a big pay-per-view down in Mexico. You got Rey Mysterio, you got all those guys, like you'll get a lot of attendance, or piggyback off like Triple Mania or something. They don't need to, although it's kind of like they're piggybacking off All In a little bit with this Berlin show. Yeah. So who would have thunk it? WWE kind of doing what other shows do to them for the most part. But yeah, I'm wondering if Philly for WrestleMania, if WWE is going to try to add more shows. There's that talk where Rob Van Dam said that they wanted to book him for Mania for 40.
That's right, yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, like, okay, do they mean like the actual Mania show? That would be pretty cool. It's in Philly, 40th anniversary. He's a big star. Or are they going to do some sort of like, ECW one night stand thing that's going to like combat like your GCWs or smaller arena shows? I'm not sure.
I don't see what you'd be able to do with that anymore. I mean, you'd have like Rhino and Tommy Dreamer are contracted to Impact.
Yeah,
not that has stopped before. We've had Mickey
Yeah.
James in the Rumble and stuff like that. But Rob Van Dam, Sandman, Sabu. When they last did the one night stand, it was just such a perfect time because everyone was still relatively active and things. I don't really see what you'd be able to do at this point.
Yeah.
And if it was I don't see them necessarily allowing WWE stars to go over and just do like a style like the years of old necessarily. So I don't know. But I could totally see, obviously they'll do the NXT show. Whether you have I find it interesting now, like Triple H is back. We saw Cedric Alexander, have a pretty good match on SmackDown and a bit of a promo segment and stuff, and reminding who he is. And the CWC was one of Triple H's babies. Whether we see trying to revive like a cruiserweight division or something like that, try a cruiserweight show again. And that could be something you do for a Mania weekend, not necessarily, 205 Live, a weekly show, but you could do some sort of like one show tournament or something with all your cruiserweights involved, perhaps.
Sure. Yeah. A lucha show, really. But a cruiserweight classic, a Mae Young classic or something. Evolution, whatever they called that pay-per-view. Like, I honestly, like, they're killing it. So I know they're in the right path. And I mean, while we're on the topic of WWE, we might as well stick with this. Give some previews, some predictions, because WWE are across the world this week as they kick off their Crown Jewel 2023 from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And I know it looked like Undertaker and Vince were hanging out over in Saudi Arabia a little early there. Was it Vincent, or was that Kane and Taker, the Brothers of Destruction? Vince McMahon with a vaudevillain mustache and a cane now. So
he's just becoming more and more ridiculous, isn't he? I mean, obviously he had surgery and that the cane he needs, but as you said, with the mustache and everything, it doesn't help things.
It's like an old-timey villain who's like twirls his mustache. That's like, it looks like he painted on. Or
no wonder why Ari Emanuel is like, Vince, you can just collect the money.
You can go.
Just stay at home.
Yeah. Let's go through this Crown Jewel thing and look ahead, because I'm sure we'll be talking about it next week. But Seth freaking Rollins taking on Drew McIntyre. You kind of mentioned that Drew is like, hey, I'm mad that I never got my moment, so he's kind of turned heel, but he's pretending like he's not, and I don't think he's taken the title from Seth. In fact, Drew's not one of my favorites, and we were at SummerSlam, and I think Drew versus Gunther was kind of the letdown of that pay-per-view. So I'm not necessarily too hyped for this match.
Which was a shame, because I think the triple threat at Mania was one of the matches of the year.
Yes,
I thought that was fantastic. Drew is a bit hit and miss for me. I am really liking this character at the moment. I think it does feel really fresh, like this logical heel turn he's having, where he's pissed off. He wants his moment. He was the pandemic champion. Everyone seems to be forgetting this guy who fucked him over. And I am enjoying the story. I think Drew can have some pretty good matches as well, and Seth is one of the best. So I think it will be a pretty good match. I don't know whether you do a heel turn and Drew wins to kind of solidify things, or there's always the like Damian Priest element as well, as he's the Money in the Bank. But
true.
Ultimately, I do see Seth holding the title at Mania to go against Gunther. But that doesn't mean you can do a couple of months, a bit of flip-flop. I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I think you're probably right. I think we're probably sticking with Seth until Mania here.
I mean, Seth versus Gunther at Mania sounds like an awesome match. Like, I'm sure those guys will kill each other. It would be fantastic. But I'm going to stick with Seth on this one. What about Rey Mysterio taking on Logan Paul, who was in Toronto yesterday? Celebrating.
Did you go and see him?
My girlfriend doesn't live too far from that area, and I was thinking about it, but seeing pictures, it looked nutso. So I'm kind of happy I didn't go over there. First 2,000 people got a free bottle of Prime.
I want to know if he approves of the Canadian Prime energy drink.
I think he has no choice.
Yeah. Like what his opinion on the taste or whatever is, because I went to Freshco. So Prime Energy, like not the hydration drink, but the energy drink.
The energy one.
Was pulled from shelves here because it just contains way too much caffeine. And I think the fact that Logan Paul's an influencer and very popular with like younger people. You can't be giving kids this amount of caffeine. So it's kind of been pulled over here. And then I saw them on shelves in Freshco, and there was a sign next to them saying that these are specially produced for Canada versions of the drink. So I'd be curious to see what he thinks of the Canadian Prime Energy. I know some people prefer like European Diet Coke because it uses different sweeteners.
Like my girlfriend sometimes likes Diet Coke, and she was like, "Oh, it's so different over here," and I was like, "Oh, come on, it can't be." And I tried it. I was like, "Oh, whoa, this is something different." Yeah, I haven't really tried the Prime Energy that much, but I have once in a while the rehydration. On a day like today, the rehydration one would be pretty good. But
I'm a fan. I'm actually pretty like it's easy to be like, these fucking Twitch streamers and stuff. But I think over the last year or so, I've grown a lot of respect for Logan Paul. I know a lot of people are very negative about this like celebrity boxing stuff, but I heard way more people talking about Logan Paul's fight last week than I heard people talking about the Tyson Fury Ngannou fight yesterday, which is crazy to me. So he promotes himself well. He's proved that he puts in the work with wrestling and has had some really entertaining matches and really entertaining promos. And, I quite like Prime Hydration. It does the trick. It tastes pretty good. So,
I again, never really knew about him too much before WWE, but I thought he came into WWE looking good, sounding good. He's very smart in everything he does. I'd say he wins the U.S. title because he could have been in Toronto yesterday with the U.S. title at this thing. Like he's going to be like Bad Bunny and take it everywhere he goes. And kind of remember when Bad Bunny had the 24/7 and he was on SNL.
Yeah.
And people were like, what the fuck? Like, dude, that's when I already loved Bad Bunny for a long time before WWE, but seeing him do that, I was like, bro, that is amazing. So like, Logan Paul would do the same thing where he would take this title and like, wear it everywhere he goes. And I think it's I'm sorry, Rey Mysterio. It kind of messes up that story because like Santos and Ray and like there's a few other guys in there that could mix around and use that title. But like, I think it's a smart choice to put it on Logan Paul.
I think strap up Logan Paul absolutely gives more promotion to WWE, just having this title on his set and stuff like that. I could potentially see Kevin Owens being a eventual like challenger for him.
Okay.
Because I feel he's kind of a big main eventer who feels a bit of a loose part now he's moved to SmackDown. So I could totally see them rekindle their feud from a couple of years ago and have that be a thing maybe. But I'm going with Logan Paul here.
Yes, drink Prime, as he says. So we are agreeing on that one. But what about Cody Rhodes taking on Damian Priest? Is this the classic WWE red herring of Damian Priest is going to lose clean to Cody only to cash in later on Seth?
It could be. I mean, I don't see Priest cashing in on Roman.
No.
I don't know. I don't really see, but it is potentially an option. Him, just surprising and cashing in on Ilya, maybe, because we've seen the cross promotion with NXT and main roster. But I think the story with the back of Seth, which they're still kind of playing up, it's a perfect setup for Priest to finally cash in on him. But I don't know if it's yet. He is the tag champion right now well, so I think that's maybe a bit too much. But I see Cody winning, but I could see it being some sort of, Judgment Day kind of accidentally fucking it up for Priest. So it still keeps Priest somewhat strong, but can add to the fracturing. Probably, JD McDonough costing him or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I think Cody wins regardless because he'll get back into his WrestleMania title hunt down the line. What about the other Judgment Day member, Rhea Ripley, putting the women's world title on the line against Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Zoe Stark, and Raquel Rodriguez? Forgot that's her name. Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think this is Rhea. You know, I don't see a clear direction of who her kind of big challenger is. I'm trying to think who we teased. They teased Bianca, didn't they, after Mania this year? So maybe at some point Bianca can flip back to Raw and be a potential like Mania opponent.
That would be a big, Bianca.
That's
Rhea
something we haven't
Mania.
really done.
Yeah.
And I think it was the Raw after Mania, they kind of had a bit of a stare down. So nicely set it up for the year later. But I don't see this. I don't see Rhea dropping this title to any of these women, especially in a multi-woman. It feels a bit of a waste to, after such a dominant reign, to lose it by, you know, Zoe Stark being pinned. Something like that, you know?
I agree. Well, what about Bianca versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's Championship?
But we kind of talked about how it's just a weird dynamic right now because people really want to cheer Io. Bianca Belair is very popular as well, but I do see. Well, we know Io is popular in the UK and Puerto Rico. I can't think how the reactions have been to her in Saudi Arabia, but maybe she's a hometown girl there as well. But I do see Io retaining due to more
cheating.
More, what are they called? Damage control shenanigans.
Yeah. Will Bayley be wearing her Lethal Weapon t-shirt in Saudi Arabia?
So was that legit? She was wearing that on SmackDown?
She wore, you know, that guy Stash Pages who has amazing stuff. I want to buy stuff from, I haven't bought anything from this guy yet, but he has some sick wrestling stuff online, Stash Pages. And Bayley, I think this was like before SmackDown, they did this like Halloween thing. And Bayley came out with the Lethal Weapon Steve Blackman t-shirt on, and I loved it right away. I had to send it to you. You were like, is this real?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm going to start campaigning again. Steve Blackman.
Rumble time.
Rumble 2024. I think I'm hopefully going to that event, and wow, I'd lose my mind.
We were politicking it so hard like last year, probably the year before that. One day this thing's going to happen. So yeah, if you were at the Rumble, if you go to the Rumble, he comes out, you would probably cry.
Yeah. I'd lose my mind.
You know he's in good shape, so he can do it. He's like a cop or something.
Yeah.
Still kicking ass.
He can, all he needs to do is, you know, come in, whip some nunchucks around, do one like spin kick kind of thing to eliminate someone and then get tossed out. It's fine.
He kicks the shit out of Dom.
Yeah.
Just because.
Massive Steve Blackman fan.
We also have John Cena taking on Solo Sikoa in this match.
Yeah, I go for it. I think so. They're building it up like he hasn't won on TV for a couple of years now or whatever it is. And, you know, is this the end of me and that sort of thing? You imagine Cena's probably going to be factored in somehow at WrestleMania. So I think, you know, if Solo's only 2 losses are against Cody and Cena, I think that's okay. You can still build up this guy who's pretty well protected. I do think Cena needs a bit of redemption here, maybe.
I agree. Yeah, so it won't hurt Solo losing to Cena.
No.
Like it's and then our main event: Roman Reigns, the undisputed Universal title on the line against L.A. Knight. I absolutely loved L.A. Knight interrupting Roman's entrance, walking right past him in the most disrespectful dog shit I've ever seen. I loved it so much. This guy is just so good, and it's so funny because I'm getting messages from like casual fans that aren't really fans. Like, you know, they see clips on TikTok or Instagram. They're like, yo, who is this LA Knight guy? And like the thing gets over really easy with everyone. He looks like $1 million with those silly round glasses. I love it so much. Like I don't think he's beating Roman Reigns, but like, wow, like you could strike while the fucking iron is hot, but I don't see that happening.
No, I don't see him winning. It's really cool to see WWE just going with the tide, you know? Like how many times have we seen, there was a point where Rusev was so over with that whole Rusev Day thing. And you look at him and he's a physical specimen. He can go in the ring. And for whatever reason, it felt like back in sort of the Vince era that he'd get mad if you got over on your own, you know? If it's not something I've written or whatever, like he punishes people for getting over, which is just so fucking ridiculous. And I love that LA Knight, you know, he kind of won us both over in NXT, and then moved up, and they did the whole Max Dupree thing. At one point, it felt like he was going to be released.
Yeah.
And then just the timing, I guess, of Vince's quote unquote retirement and turning him back to LA Knight, and the Bray Wyatt feud, actually, I think it did better for LA Knight than it did for Bray, rest in peace. And just that they've gone with this, and he feels like a legit main eventer now. And I think the thing is next is, what do you do with LA Knight after, I assume, losing to Roman Reigns? How can you keep him hot and relevant still? And maybe he's the one to take like the US title from Logan Paul or something like that. But it's pretty cool to see that they're going with this guy. He's main eventing, and it doesn't necessarily feel out of place. And I think his segments have been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do if he loses this match to keep him on that level? Like, would you put him in? Does Solo cost him, and then you put him with Solo in that storyline? Does he go and feud with someone else? Like, if he's not the champion, where would you book him? Like, making him a Rumble hopeful. Maybe someone screws him out of that match, sets up a Mania match. Like, you'd hope he gets some big program where he can do like promo feuds and stuff with some other people. But I think it's great that they're putting him in this title match. And like, again, it would be crazy if he won, but I just don't see it working out that way, considering you got to go for Cody v Roman 2 at Mania again. Like, we have to.
It's like, if you weren't going to pull the trigger on Cody, you know, Sammy in Sammy in Montreal, or Drew in Cardiff, or Cody at Mania, I don't see them pulling the trigger on LA Knight in Saudi. But it's cool that they've built him up. And I think the best Roman matches have been the ones where someone has been so popular that you go, I mean, if you were going to do it, now would be a good time. So, you know, as long as they get that Good Hope spot, you've kind of got me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure it'll be good, and all the bells and whistles and the wise man and somewhat bloodline stuff. Honestly, the card looks pretty good, especially some of the big marquee matches. I think Io and Bianca, I'm hoping that really delivers as my like match of the night that I'm most looking forward to. But yeah, and this is on during the day, right? So kind of cool to check it out. I think I'm working during the day, which sucks. So I'll probably have to check it out later that night. But we'll chat about it next Sunday and give some thoughts on everything that happens on Crown Jewel. Did you see we mentioned the Fury fight with Vince and Undertaker, but Vince was sitting next to Eminem.
Sorry, that wasn't the match.
No, sorry. Wait,
Vince you made it sound like Tyson Fury versus Vince and the Undertaker in Saudi Arabia, right? Which I wouldn't put past him, but yeah.
I just saw the videos and the photos of Vince McMahon sitting next to Eminem, Mike Tyson, like Ronaldo's there, like all like what ridiculous. A weird blunt rotation that would be. But Eminem just like in his fucking hoodie, like 8 Mile, multi-billionaire or whatever, just hanging out in a hoodie next to Vince. Just a weird visual, which was pretty cool. So that was some WWE chat. We can flip the page over and maybe start talking about some AE dubs, as they had a pretty packed week of stuff that happened. Obviously, we had Collision last night, but maybe we could start with what happened on Wednesday on AEW Dynamite, which I thought was a pretty good show. I know ratings didn't go necessarily; they went a little down for them, but right now is crazy time for sports. Right? There's like everything going on.
Everything right now. Baseball, basketball, hockey.
So yeah, that obviously would affect wrestling ratings. But besides that, I still thought it was a pretty strong show that kicked off. I'm really enjoying the MJF versus the World, where it's like a rogues gallery. It's like Batman every time, you know, he puts away one guy in Arkham. This other guy's like, hey, but don't forget about me. And then it's like, oh, I got to go off onto that story now. And
which I think one of my criticisms for AEW for such a long time is people don't seem to care about the title. Like,
yes, exactly.
Kenny is like, oh, I'd rather just fuck around with my friends. Same with Hangman. It's like all these people who it's like, you should want that title. And I think now finally everyone going for it is pretty cool. And it's solidifying MJF now as this babyface, and he seems less of like the I am a heel playing babyface, and now just coming across more as a pure babyface. I think it's working.
Yeah, I genuinely love MJF as a babyface right now, and whatever happens with him, if he turns again or whatever, it'll be just as fantastic. But I am loving the whole like story of everyone now kind of wants a piece of the action, including like the Jay White match. I know at the pay-per-view will be amazing. I don't necessarily like the stealing the title thing, but whatever.
I always hate that. I think it's such a trope, and it always feels weak to me.
We got Joe, who MJF beat. He choked him out, but he still beat him. But Joe's still like, I'm not done with you. Then we got Kenny, who is like, hey, you taunted me, bitch. Well, 13 days. Sets up for this match on Collision, which we'll get into. But I loved MJF fought Juice. The match was whatever. He won the diamond ring back. But then there was so much like kerfuffle with the Acclaimed and the Kingdom guys and all that stuff, all to which I didn't care for that much, except when he pushed Roddy in the wheelchair. That was hilarious. But then it all like just went to set up Kenny coming out. And then all of a sudden my ears perked up. And then Kenny to cut this promo on him, basically saying like, oh yeah, you're the one who taunted me with that, and I'm going to throw it back at you. And sets up for what, like only a few days later for Collision, which is absolutely bonkers that they would do this. I'm a huge advocate of announcing some big matches on TV, but this is a match you could have clearly waited. This could have been the pay-per-view match. I think would have a lot more interest than the pay-per-view match. As much as I think Jay White and MJF will kill it at the pay-per-view, like Kenny MJF is first time ever, like pretty huge. In fact, like right away, I'm like, fuck, where's this show on Saturday? Shit, like wow, like I've been to some of the big. I think I've been to like some of all the big Kenny matches, minus the like Okada series, and I'm like, wait, what? Why aren't they doing this at a pay-per-view? Why am I not going to this? They just announced the pay-per-view in like Long Island. Like this could have been that big match, but I'm happy that they're giving it to us. But yeah, I was like really shocked.
Yeah, I think it just shows that they're still like focusing on really trying to get Collision like as must see as possible.
Sure.
I think Saturdays are such a difficult time because a lot of people are busy and out and whatever. And I kind of feel if you don't watch on the Sunday, it's passed you by. You're not going to catch up a few days later or whatever. Whereas you announce a match like this and I'm at work, I'm staying off my phone because I don't want to see what happens. I come home and as soon as I get up, I'm like, right, I'm going to watch Collision. I'm going to watch it. And I think that's what they're going to start doing more of, is having Dynamite as maybe you're furthering stories, doing a bit more kind of promo based stuff, and then setting up a big match for Collision. Because we know the format of, the last 30 minutes or 40 minutes is one solid match. And I think it could help. I would maybe announce it a little bit before 3 days. I think if you are having people living in the city, but maybe if you're a neighboring city or whatever and thinking of making the drive to a town, you'd want a bit more than a week's notice, 3 days notice to prepare for that. But I think they're really trying to boost ticket sales and boost maybe the perception of this show.
Like, okay, as a fan who's watching a TV show, for them to all of a sudden have Kenny come out and then go, hey, in 3 days, bitch, I'll fight you. That's great to make me go, oh shit. Last night I had the Halloween plans, and while everyone's getting ready, I'm like, hey guys, what if we left at 10 so we can get the Uber, get there for 10:30? And everyone's like, yeah, great idea. When secretly I'm like, good, because I kind of when would I give a shit? So here I am pre-gaming, and I have my laptop on with Collision on with like the volume kind of low while like the Halloween tunes, and we're having some drinks. I'm like, oh wait, is it on yet? Oh no, that's Rhett Titus. Hold on, wait. Oh, is it on? Okay, wait, no, main event starting. Okay, and then like as soon as it ends, I'm like in my spacesuit. I was ready to go party. So I do like Collision being on Saturdays, and you can skip it and stuff. I don't know if the rating will be that good because it's a Halloween weekend. Like people are going to be out, but I was very happy that they did this match. And Again, if you were to announce this for a pay-per-view, I would have considered like, oh, should I go to this?
I would have thought about it. I do think it will still be big though if you announce a rematch down the line.
Yes,
and I mean, they put Danielson Kenny on free TV, and we still haven't had the rematch yet. So I think when they eventually go to that, that'll feel big again. We might as well skip, like, we can go back to Dynamite, but while we're on the topic, we might as well talk about the match as well.
Oh, I loved it.
I thought it was excellent, and I kind of like it. It was a relatively clean finish as well. I mean, Callis kind of distracted Kenny from hitting the one-winged angel, but it was still like, it wasn't like there was any dodgy business that caused MJF to win.
Yeah, he didn't hit the ring or anything like that. He didn't choke him out
with
the tape.
And the sign of respect between the two at the end with the hug. MJ, you don't really hear the criticisms anymore, but for quite a while it was, this guy's just a promo, and it's like there's an argument of him being one of the wrestlers of the year this year, and I think it's going to be hard for anyone to beat Ospreay, just the whole catalog of work he's put out. But I would say now at this point that MJF's been the best AEW champion when you look at the title defenses, because as fun as Kenny's run was with the belt collector, no real matches, kind of his feuds weren't great, I didn't think, during that run. Hangman Page had some good matches, but never felt like the star of the show when he was the champion. I don't think CM Punk ever defended his title. and then Mox is just the constant, reset, go back to Mox, let's calm everything down. But I think MJF, match quality wise and feuds, has possibly been the best title run. And I think having a match like this, he'll be having the Jay White match, which I imagine will be great as well. And whatever he's got planned for World's End, I think it's been an incredibly strong title reign.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. I think it's been the best run. He's now the longest reigning AEW champion, beating Kenny's streak and beating him in this match. This was easily the best TV match this year. I think across any show, in my opinion. I was watching this like, what in the hell, man? That power bomb spot off the first Kenny hits him with a snapdragon on the apron onto MJF's neck. And then on top of that, he picks him up and then power bombs him off the apron through a table. I screamed.
High on the shoulders and neck area.
It was insane. Dude, I sleep on a pillow wrong and I have neck pains.
Yeah.
This guy took these crazy bumps. And then the spot with the counter of the one-winged angel into a Poisonrana. We love that. And then how about a double, sir? Because then Kenny counters with that as well. Like, great back and forth. You said it best. Like, MJF, to me, when I first started watching AEW was when I was first really introduced to him. And from night one, he became a household name from his promo. But I got to say, this last year, even the year before, like, his matches are incredible. And I am one of the biggest Kenny fanboys you'll ever meet or listen to talk about, because he's my favorite. And he's the measuring stick. So finally seeing MJF versus him, I was like, oh no, man, MJF not even hanging. He's above. Like, he's become the guy here. Like, the Danielson Iron Man match definitely was like, whoa, this guy went an hour with the dragon, right? But now fighting Kenny, I'm like, oh, and they went like 30 minutes. They had a clean finish, but one day we'll get this again. But yeah, holy shit, this was really good. And I hope we get to see it again down the line. But tell me a TV match on any show better than this. There's probably arguments for lots of other stuff, but wow, this was really good.
I think they're doing, a great job with the story as well, because I think when MJF eventually loses this title, you can turn him back heel, because he's stretching himself so thin. He's not just defending the AEW World Championship, he's defending the ROH Tag Team Championship as well. He's got, you mentioned Joe, obviously Kenny, Jay White. He's got Wardlow. Have a match with him. Swerve is feuding with Hangman right now, but he's been talking about being, the first Black AEW champion. That can be a feud you have, and eventually he'll lose. And he'll be like, fuck, well, like he can justify himself by going back to his old ways because, you know, I started wrestling every week. I used to have the Roman Reigns deal where I wrestle 5 times a year, and now I'm wrestling once a week, sometimes twice in the same show, defending different titles. And I think it'll be a logical way to turn him back heel when you want to do that. But right now, having fun as this just babyface champion.
It is weird if he's got to defend the tag titles. Like, I think that should come in to bite him in the ass. Like having to defend too. Like, he could just be like, you know what, I don't care about the ROH titles anymore because Adam's injured. And it looks like Adam Cole is going to be taken. Like, he's not going to be back for quite a long time, just having, you know, surgery. But like, the devil, is it just going to be revealed as Adam Cole this whole time?
I don't know. I can't say I'm really. I think this makes a whole lot more sense if it's the devil targeting MJF, not Jay White. So I don't really care.
I think the devil is teasing because he will attack MJF.
Right.
Eventually. Like, that's what it's going to lead to. Or Jay White somehow screws MJF, revealing he was in part of the devil or something.
Yeah, it's not a story that particularly makes sense to me, and I'm not overly interested. I don't know where you go. Maybe it's to debut someone new. Like, are they just holding off to debut Dolph Ziggler or Mustafa Ali or something like that when their 3 months are up? Could be something like that. I don't know. It doesn't hold a whole lot of interest for me personally.
But I do like how he's got like other challengers in the wings, and the Jay White stuff definitely will deliver at the pay-per-view. But the feud itself, it's like, Jay White's a pretty good talker, and I like the other than the belt stuff, like I like the card blade and
it does just feel a bit secondary when you've got the Kenny match and stuff like that. But you know, Jay White can deliver in ring, and I think this AEW run's actually been better for him because it's kind of forced him to get rid of some of his habits, you know, having just
fucking
13-minute matches on TV rather than spending 13 minutes outside the ring before the match starts. It helps him. It's made him a way more compelling wrestler for me.
I liked how they did a good job of like, look, I didn't actually think Kenny was going to beat MJF because I figured Callis would just come out and cost him the match. But part of me was like, yo, what if they did so that the pay-per-view now is Kenny versus Jay White? Like, that's pretty crazy. And it got a lot of people like thinking about that. Obviously they've wrestled a few times, but that is a match we can go to down the line. Now, is Kenny taking a break now? He's taking a little breather, which is a terrible time. I hope he's not injured or going to be like taken off.
I haven't heard anything. Why?
I hope that's not the case, but like that's because he's not the only one who seems to be shelved, because on Collision they had Claudio pretty much reveal in his promo against Okada saying like, hey, you hurt my boy, and he's got something orbital bone injury. Like,
is this legit?
It sounds like it is, because then Tony Schiavone on commentary was like, yeah, it's serious, and he's out.
Because the way they did the angle, it felt like it was Danielson doing his incredible selling. Like the camera was focusing on him. Yeah. Okada was going, wow, wow, wow.
Okada was mocking him. Okada was like I was dying laughing at this.
I think it's kind of great that, you know, Danielson has beaten Okada twice now, technically, but he's come out the worst both times. Like,
it's interesting for sure. Okay, so as we're definitely jumping around here, but okay, so we'll go back to what happened with that on Dynamite. So Orange Cassidy a week ago is like, yo, I'm bringing Okada to Dynamite, which is crazy. So Orange Cassidy and Okada taking on Danielson and Claudio. The match was awesome. This was some great back and forth. Who would have thunk Orange Cassidy and Okada making a great team, and one of the best visuals and best moments possibly ever when Okada goes for the Rainmaker pose with the camera and Orange is like, oh yeah, I'll take that hug, and goes in there. I was howling at that. But then the wrestling, you had Claudio in there with Okada, which was definitely like wetting our whistle a little bit of like, hey, that's a match we could go to down the line. And of course Danielson and Okada in there killing each other. But then the finish where it's the BCC who win, but Danielson was down. Okada's like, basically like, look at this little bitch. He's like, look, oh, your arm. He's like, oh, my arm. Oh, he's like, yeah, you may have beat me again, but fuck your arm and your orbital bone. So
I
thought it was storyline until I kind of went online, and then it was definitely Tony Schiavone's tone that I'm like, I think they're serious. So Claudio's made it seem like he's now facing Okada, like he wants Okada, whether it's Full Gear or Tokyo Dome.
The good thing is, though, I mean, I wouldn't wish anyone breaking an orbital bone, but we've seen that injury quite a lot in wrestling, and it doesn't take you out for too long. We've seen people wear the protective mask and that kind of thing. Danielson came back after a few weeks with a broken arm. Like, I don't think this will put him on the shelf for too long.
Is this his face then? His like orbital, right?
Yeah, it's like here,
Undertaker. Right? He's got to wear the Undertaker mask.
Yeah, wear like a Seahawks face mask or something.
Dragon.
But I think we've both said how Claudio, like, we respect as a wrestler, but hasn't particularly done it for me. Like, I watch him and it's like, yeah, you're a really good professional wrestler, but I'm just a bit meh on you. I thought his promo on Collision was excellent. It might be the best promo he's ever done. I thought he sounded awesome and scary and passionate. And
he's like Hitman.
Yeah, and I think seeing him and Okada tie up in the tag match, I'm like, oh yeah, you're both kind of similar size. This isn't something I've really seen before. I think that singles match is something I'm really excited about. But Claudio Orange this coming Wednesday, I think, is going to be awesome as well. So this is the most interested I've been in Claudio for a long, long time. And I just think the quality of matches coming out are going to be great. Jake in the chat is saying that Brian apparently got his nose broken. So
that's orbital, right?
So hopefully, he shouldn't be out for too long, and we can just give him a fancy mask. Hopefully, an American Dragon mask.
Yeah, part of me thinks he's missing the Tokyo Dome, though, and I bet he's pretty pissed. This dude's missed All In, and now he's going to miss that.
I don't think you're going to be out for 2 months with a broken nose.
We'll see. How about we break yours and see how long it's...
No, but I mean, you see like rugby players break their nose all the time, and they just play. You know, like I think it's something you can get around with. Yeah, I don't want to break my nose. Claudio, I could still podcast with a broken nose.
Yeah, you just sound like that. I think Claudio and Okada, though, if that's the replacement, like that's crazy. If you do that at Full Gear or the Tokyo Dome, would be pretty crazy.
Or World's End.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I love that on Dynamite. That match was crazy. Okada coming in there is super cool, and love seeing him. And I loved him mocking Danielson. It was kind of awkward, and now even weird because like it was a real injury, so you're like, oh, that's kind of shitty. But Okada,
it feeds into this great character Okada's been playing over the last year, where he's just been bullying like the younger talent. He's like this grizzled veteran now, and he's like, he lost the match, but he's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, fucked you up again.
Yeah, I really loved it. So I'm definitely I'm loving a lot of the wrestling from AEW right now, and some of these stories, little things are really, I'm really back into it. I know people are like, oh, AEW and ticket sales are so bad. They're in the dump right now. I'm like, I don't know. As a viewer, like I'm watching these shows, and there's stuff every week that obviously I don't necessarily like pumpkin matches or whatever was on Collision, but there is stuff that like genuinely as a wrestling fan, I'm like, this is it. Like they're doing such a good job. And now Claudio is the hitman coming for Okada or his boy's defense. Another story I love.
It's clear they're making an effort to try and do something to shape this perception and these ticket sales and things. I think announcing the Sting retirement tour is a great idea, because it's something, if they're not coming to Toronto in the next between now and Revolution,
March.
I think, if they were in like a Buffalo or a Rochester or something, and Sting's going to be on the card, I'd go like, you know what, I'd like to see Sting one last time. And I think a lot of people are going to do that. And I think people who aren't necessarily AEW fans but are just wrestling fans and see, Sting's last match in North Carolina, Sting's last match in Ohio, Sting's up wherever. Like, I think it will push some tickets. And now having Ric Flair attached to him.
Okay, let's talk about this. So Tony Khan has a gift for Sting, and it is another human for Sting to take control of. Sting's got his whole family here. He's got people that he owns, including Darby, his kid, and now Grandpa Rick. This is a whole Adams family of who's who in this. Oh, and Nick Wayne.
Adams family as well. Yeah.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Adam Copeland, because they go way back, Sting and Adam Copeland.
Adam Copeland and Sting definitely don't go way back. But will Adam Copeland join Sting and Darby in this 6-man tag that sets up here? So, yeah, out comes Sting's gift. Ric Flair is here in AEW, making his debut. Woo, looking pretty sharp. That Ric Flair drip, that suit was nice. I mean, he never doesn't look good, even at his old age here. But he comes down to the ring and he woos. He even gets a few chops in on Sting, which popped me pretty much. And then on top of that, we had Christian Cage.
Oh, I was sweating.
Oh my God, I was nervous.
You
were nervous. We all know what we thought he was going to say.
First of all, do you think Sting, it seemed like a genuine surprise to him, I think.
Yeah, I'm wondering because it's like maybe he didn't know, but maybe he was just pretending like, oh, wow, Rick, so shocked to see you.
But yeah, we know, Rick lost his son, Reed, a few years ago. And with the whole Christian being like the best dad in the world and your dad's dead, I thought I was so hoping it wouldn't go there because we've seen, how upset Rick got with the Paige Charlotte feud a few years ago. And then recently, I don't know if you saw that clip of him walking off on that podcast.
I did. Yes. Yeah.
So I was pretty nervous. Luckily, they didn't go there. He just attacked his alcoholism instead.
He just called him old. That's fine.
He called him old with a black liver.
Look, I didn't want him to bring that up either. Obviously, if it's something they clear down the line to get really cheap heat, sure, because Christian's already talking about people's dads dead and stuff like that. But they didn't do it, and equally still made me gasp, laugh, and horrified as Christian said, if I know there's no God, because if there was a God, he would have killed Ric Flair 20 years ago. Oh my God. I lost it at that line. So Christian's still proving he's the most ruthless guy. I mean, Christian and Rick definitely have history in WWE, but Edge and Ric Flair have a lot of history from WWE. So Edge to kind of be on that side with Rick, Sting, and Darby is so bizarre, but I would hope that. So the story is what Edge doesn't want to fight Christian. He doesn't.
Yeah, they're doing the Owen Brett thing, aren't they? Like
I came to AEW,
Kane Undertaker sort of thing.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I came to AEW to team with Christian. Go fuck yourself. Okay, well, I don't want to do anything now that I'm here in AEW. Is pretty much what Christian's.
I fought a dinosaur and I'm done.
I'm done. Oh wait, you want me to face Christian? I don't know if I can do that. That's the storyline. But okay.
I did like Sting being like, wake up and partner me kind of promo later. Back to Rick. I think it's really nice for Sting, and like I'd like to see kind of more of these people, like one shots, people coming from Sting's past on this retirement tour. My thing is, I just get nervous whenever I see Rick out there. Like he doesn't look particularly well. He does look drunk a lot of the time. He looks like he's going to burst into tears most of the time. And I don't necessarily enjoy watching a product being worried about this performer. So it looks like he's here for the ride. He's going to be like a weekly character now. But
yeah,
I do get a little nervous watching Ric Flair these days, to be honest.
Obviously, there's a lot to be said with. I'm sure it's rubbing some people the wrong way with like, oh, it's Ric Flair and like the whole dark side of the ring and everything. Like, obviously, there's that. It's wrestling. I'm not trying to like defend or anything. What's he said, she said, or whatever. But like, this guy is like the epitome of wrestling. Speaking of Halloween weekend, like so many people are dressed up as Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan, and like he's one of the iconic characters. And like devil's advocate, I'm like, yo, like why wouldn't this guy show up on TV? How many years left is this guy even going to be alive? So like we got to kind of take it while we can and let him, do. We've seen. I watched so many documentaries on Ric Flair, and a common denominator from Ric Flair promos and interviews through the years is, I don't do anything else. I live my gimmick. I am myself. I am Ric Flair. And like, the guy likes to party. The guy likes to be involved in wrestling. So power to him. And I am a huge fan of Flair. I don't want to see him. Obviously, he's not going to wrestle because he's had his last match. He's retired back in 2007, right? I do enjoy seeing. I really like this segment, and him and Sting together is something I've wanted in AEW for a little while. And just being there, like cutting some promos, go off one day, take his jacket off, maybe don't drop the elbow on it, but like, cut a few promos, and I'm kind of a fan of it. And we're not going to see him wrestle, but he's going to be out there. Him and Sting, it's like a whole Addams family of weirdos cutting promos with Christian, and I don't know, but it's
Sting,
great.
Darby, Ric Flair, and Edge. All right,
the dream team there. Yeah, against Christian, his son, and a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Love wrestling.
What else stood out from AEW this week? We had RVD and Hook partner.
That was kind of weird.
RVD just still looking great, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It is weird, though. So him saying some things about WWE, and like maybe because he's doing AEW stuff, WWE's kind of mad at him or something. But like coming into AEW, you'd imagine we give him maybe like a bigger slot. Like he is kind of a big deal. I'd maybe put him in bigger matches. Obviously, the dream match would be to do like him versus Kenny at like a pay-per-view, because I didn't expect RVD to be in the shape he is. The way he moves, he looks better than like his past runs from the past few years ago. So I like not him doing stuff with Hook isn't necessarily like, oh, I gotta check that out and I'm super like blown away. But I think there's something else you could do with him. Like,
I wouldn't be putting him in pay-per-view slots. I think having him as an attraction for TV is fun, and like having a Kenny match on TV would be great.
Sure, yeah.
I think there is a perception now of AEW has a lot of older people. Like you watched Dynamite this week, you had like pretty much back to back RVD, the Hardy Boys, Ric Flair, and Edge, and this was at one point like the show where the young stars from the indies have now broken through to TV, and it's becoming a bit less than that. And there's certainly ways you can use your legends, and we've seen someone like Sting. It's been great, but I think for me, I'd prefer to see Rob Van Dam as like a TV attraction where you just announce weird matches that like today we've got Kenny versus RVD. You've got
I think
Orange Cassidy versus RVD and stuff like that, which I think would be more fun than actually having him in week-to-week feuds building to pay-per-view.
Again, just like one-off matches. All you need to go is like, hey, in 2 weeks, Jeff versus RVD one more time. Hey,
God, no.
Like, you know what I mean? Just shit like that. Like announce like, hey, RVD's going to take on this thing, or one person, he has a feud with one person, or like there are definitely things you can do with him because he is looking good. So there's definitely like a few match possibilities of things you could do with him. Another thing that was a highlight was Swerve going into Hangman's house, going into his baby's room, talking to his baby, which we presume, but then being a nice guy and giving him some free merch.
Yeah. Hangman, I'm sure you're making the dollar bills now. Get yourself a baby monitor. Get yourself security, like lock your door or something. I don't know. And, like tell your wife to go easy on the sleeping pills or something. I don't know. Like how?
I don't think the baby was there.
Baby was silent as well.
Okay, so the baby wasn't actually there, is what like I imagine is where we're going with. Like there was no baby sounds or anything. So I just love Hangman like, and he's got to like
Hangman running from Philly to Virginia.
I love it. It's wrestling though, so like I love it.
No, I think Swerve is such a great villain. Like he's so scary and like evil. Like I wouldn't want to mess with this guy. And he is a cool heel, but he is a a cool heel I'm genuinely terrified of, and not someone I necessarily want to cheer, which is great. Like we need more villains like this in wrestling. I love the whole Prince Nana thing as well. Like, boss, we got to go, boss.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Let's go, boss. We've been here too long, boss. Let's go.
When we're out next time and we got to go, I'm gonna be like, yo, boss, we got to get out.
We got to go. We got to get out of here.
I did love that segment. I mean, he did tweet out later that night being like, yo, my finishing move is called the house call.
Yeah,
true. Like I make house calls. I love how Swerve's thing is like what he kidnapped Daddy Ass, then he beat up Nick Wayne, and then now he's taunting Hangman's baby. This is a bad man.
We're eventually going to see him just straight up murder someone, aren't we?
Murder someone, like throw someone. He's attacked people.
Yeah, like if he feuds with the elite, like Brandon Cutler or Nakazawa are just dead. They're just dead.
Thrown in a river somewhere. Yeah. I love this feud. It's clearly the feud is continuing where we're going to Hangman Swerve 2, which, I mean, now that you brought the guy's baby into it, I think we're going to where we thought it was going to go, which is some sort of a death match, kind of thing, like no DQ, lights out match.
Cage match.
Baby hanging above the ring. Custody of Hangman's baby.
Crib hanging. It's got the bars and everything, yeah.
Yeah, these two had an amazing match the last pay-per-view, so they already have my money, and I would like to see Hangman's like rebuttal to like this upcoming week. Like, yo, if your baby was kayfabe supposed to be in there with a guy broke into your house, you'd be pretty upset.
He's got to tie Prince Nana to the back of
he's got to murder. Yeah, Prince Nana on a
field, right? Like,
we need a vignette with Hangman on a horse just dragging Nana and then tying him to some train tracks.
Yeah, be great.
A shootout. I do love this feud. So again, like AEW actually is really on fire as well right now with keeping me interested because the wrestling delivers on these feuds, as even as ridiculous as some guys.
The pay-per-views are amazing.
Yeah.
When it comes to it.
Other things from Dynamite was.
Did Jericho tease the return of Jericho?
Yes, he did. He's like, yo, Will Hobbs is big, but I have friends who are even bigger, and maybe I'll give him a call. That's right. We're getting, Ruckus is cooking up right now. He fucking better be. He's got to have that remix. We'll break the wall down.
Except, this one, what is it? It'll be Judas mixed with, it's been a long, long road, and it's only just beginning. Whoa, 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 whoa. Haven't heard it for a while. So what would they be called? Like Captain Insanico?
Captain Insanico.
Yeah.
Captain Insana Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I can't say I'm particularly.
I'm fucking jacked for this. I'm hyped for this.
All right, cool.
I'm so excited. Those are former undisputed tag team champions. Don't you ever forget it. What a run Jericho show. You had to be there for Jericho show.
Yeah, I think that was during my dark period, and it was a dark period for a reason.
Jericho show coming back soon. Ratings are going to go up for this one. I'm not too interested in that, but you know what? It's something good. They're getting over Hobbs by doing this. So in a way, it's just going to affect him. The visual is going to be Hobbs slamming Paul White.
My issue with it though is, and this is the same with so many things that happens in AEW. And Jericho is responsible, I feel, for a lot of these. This Don Callis thing was a way to get Takeshita over. And Takeshita's become Daniel Garcia of the Don Callis family. It's like, you get it. He's like hot. He's getting great reactions. Has a great match with Kenny. And then it's actually, we're going to focus on Hobbs and we're going to replace Kenny with Jericho. And this is what we see with like Garcia with the JAS. He just got, actually, Sammy Guevara, you're now playing the role of Daniel Garcia. And I think there is a lot of that in AEW. There's a lot of good stuff, but I think at times they just pull things that seem to be going well. And I personally, I like Hobbs, and I am happy they're kind of focusing on him, but not at the expense of Takeshita, because I think Takeshita can probably have some bigger feuds in him.
Yeah, I loved Takeshita versus Fletcher. I actually checked that out a little earlier today, just from Rampage, which I haven't watched Rampage. I actually missed. I had only enough time to watch that, and then I wanted to watch Santana Ortiz, which Santana went over on Ortiz and crushed him with this like sit out bomb that looked like it really hurt. But Takeshita beat Fletcher in a pretty good match as well. And like, Takeshita is someone who pushes this like evil foreign heel with Don Callis as the mouthpiece. It's pretty like simple, pretty straightforward. And if I was them, I'd go towards maybe like a feud with Orange Cassidy for that title or something. Like, I'm not sure. Or Takeshita in a he's with this team. I guess it's like kind of weird because it's like Ospreay would be the leader of this group, but if he came into AEW, he'd be like a babyface right away. So it's like strange where maybe this team is kind of operating, but I do love Takeshita a lot, and his wrestling is fantastic. But yeah, we'll see get over the Jericho feud, and then we'll kind of see where it lands with a bunch of those guys. But yeah, I'm interested in that. Was there anything else from AEW this week?
I don't.
There's Miro, and is Lana just like suckering in people to get beat up?
It seems that way, doesn't it? Like she's trying to get that side out of Miro again, and is playing on his jealousy to make him a killer. Because she was kind of smiling when Andretti was just getting destroyed.
She's smiling every time she's doing this. So she tried to get Andrade, right? But then
Andrade wasn't having it.
He's like, no, I see what you're doing there. I'm not falling for that.
I'm kind of already over the Toni Storm thing, I think.
Yeah, a little bit. They pushed it a little bit too much. Like, I think she's incredible in this run, and the wrestling definitely is doing it. But if you're doing it every time and over the top, it's definitely like it's like when WWE finds something that everything is cool, and then they just like run it into the ground.
It's been the same with Roddy. When the first few times he was doing Adam, as soon as it actually became a catchphrase, I'm like, oh no, I don't like it. Yeah. Whereas at the beginning, when it was just him like calling him out, it was really funny, and I think those vignettes were pretty damaging in my perception of Kingdom and Roderick Strong, to be honest. And I'm kind of getting there with Tony. Like I think there is a way to make it work, but it needs to be pulled back a bit because it's getting a bit too ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. But before the Roddy whole neck brace thing, we already kind of confirmed our Halloween costumes. But a neck brace Roddy is the easy go-to costume, and I hope someone out there dresses like him this Halloween because it is pretty good. Especially if you have a wheelchair. Oh man, you should tell my friend Shane to be Roddy for Halloween. He's kind of like, I don't even know if I'm going to dress up, dude. You have a neck brace lying around?
Yeah,
some glasses on.
He'll need a wig though, as well, wouldn't he?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, that was us chatting about some AEWs and some WWE. I think that's like kind of about it. There's some other stuff going on in wrestling. Like there's always like Stardom. I know New Japan's got some stuff, but is it Great Khan saying something about MJF might show up at the Tokyo Dome?
Really?
I don't know if that's legit.
Face Great Khan?
I hope that's not the match, but if I imagine AEW lets some more of their stars wrestle for that show, and if it's not Kenny or Danielson, then maybe the Claudio Okada match.
That would be a hell of a week, wouldn't it? Like the 30th is World's End.
You'd be leaving on the
on a plane, and
you'd be leaving right away. Yeah, absolutely. And then shout out. You're talking about Toni Storm, but shout out her butler,
Luther. Yeah,
Luther. They changed his name.
What is it now?
It's not Luther. It's the butler, Luther.
Luther. All right.
Great stuff. Everyone.
Dynamite main eventer, Luther.
That's right. Never forgot. Canadian legend, right? Everybody out there, thank you for listening to us ramble on about some wrestling. And everyone in the YouTube chat, shout out y'all for hanging out with us. Shout out you replay people on YouTube, and anyone listening in the podcast apps. Hit that like button, that subscribe, 5-star reviews, all that thing goes a long, long way. Follow our socials at Poisonrana Pod, Twitter, Instagram, especially the next few days for our Halloween shenanigans and costumes. Again, send us photos of your costumes if you do them. And if you like listening to us, support your boys. Patreon.com/Poisonrana. $5 gets you so many podcasts, all the entertainment for all the long hours, your drives, endless nights, whatever it may be. We got you covered with wrestling reviews, movie reviews, and so much more. And all the free shows, if that's what you like as well, on this feed. We will be back, Wednesday, Davey?
Yes.
2 p.m.?
Wednesday.
Our Halloween hangover. That's right.
Yeah.
Halloween hangover on Wednesday, the 1st, on the Post Wrestling feed on YouTube there for Up Next, covering Halloween Havoc Night 2. So looking forward to chatting about that, because that show will definitely slap as well. Ilya versus Mello 2 or 3.
Yeah. 3.
Yeah. Can't wait for that one. So everyone out there, we appreciate you listening to us, and we're hoping you're having a happy Halloween.
And one last thing. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that bummed me out yesterday.
Oh, could you be any more bummed out?
Yeah.
Damn, man. Holy, rest in peace. That's really sad. 54 years of age.
Yeah.
Chandler was my spirit animal. I connected with him.
Me
I always felt like a Chandler.
Yeah.
When I watched that show back in the 90s, 2000s. But yeah, I loved Fools Rush In as well. It was one of my favorite movies. It was always on TV as a kid. But this guy, he had kind of B-level movies. He wasn't as big of a movie star, but I still loved them so much.
I actually really enjoyed that 17 again with Zac
17
Efron.
again.
I watched it on a flight, and I was like, this isn't a bad movie.
He's good in that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite of big, right? It starts with Matthew Perry, and then it goes to, he turns back.
Yeah.
Zac Efron, because that makes sense. Zac Efron and Michael Perry are the same person. He did this really shitty movie with Chris Farley where they're travelers, almost like Columbus or whatever. It's really bad, but I used to watch this movie all the time. So yeah, rest in peace, Matthew. Best match ever, Matthew Perry.
Yeah,
it'd be Chandler. He was the funniest on Friends. I know great. Friends gets a lot of flack these days, but there's some funny stuff from Friends. And I
love Friends.
He was the highlight. He was the highlight of Friends for sure.
It becomes such a hipster thing to Friends wasn't even that good. No, it was. It was a good show, and I liked it.
There was definitely some great moments, but he was always my favorite on that. So rest in peace, man. And he's a Canadian too, man. I'm pretty sure Toronto, Newmarket, or something like that. So
didn't realize
definitely, definitely pretty sad there. And I'm sure people are bummed. He's had his demons and stuff as well, but very, very bummed out. So pour one out for Matthew Perry, for Chandler. And we'll chat with you fine people eventually down the line very soon. So happy Halloween, and take care. Goodbye, and be safe.
Ahoy!
Poisonrana.